The Frenzy was introduced by ARM Rides of Ohio in late 2013. The Frenzy was based on earlier designs of large pendulum swing rides such as the S&S Screamin' Swing. These earlier large pendulum swing rides were not transportable as they were too heavy and required too large of a base to be practically transported. In contrast, the ARM Frenzy is small, seating 12 riders using over-the-shoulder restraints, and short, being just 43 feet or 13.2 meters tall when parked. This allows the Frenzy to be transported on one trailer. The ride weighs roughly 75,000 pounds or 34,000 kilograms. The Frenzy was designed to provide riders with the same negative G-forces found on larger permanent versions of this ride. To achieve this, the ride swings up to 110 degrees, reaching a maximum swing height of 60 feet or 18.4 meters. Frenzy is able to do all of this without a counterweight and without water tanks to balance the structure. This is achieved through a well-engineered but simple ground support design. Frenzy also features a large lowering floor to allow the ride to swing while allowing riders' feet to pass clearances. The ride uses a single 75 horsepower electric motor. The first and only first-generation ARM Frenzy was sold to Bates Bros Amusements of Ohio. They took it to its first show, the IX Indoor Amusement Park of 2014, in March. The ride drew some attention at this show, but it was not seen as a huge success. The ride was seen sporadically at other Bates Bros shows throughout 2014, including appearing at the Canfield County Fair in Ohio. After this event, the ride was only seen one more time in 2014, being shown off at that year's IAAPA Expo in Orlando. After IAAPA, Frenzy was sold to Billy Tucker, owner of the now-defunct Dixieland Carnival. Billy took the ride to a few shows around Alabama and neighboring states, but the ride got even less attention than it did when it was in Ohio. Dixieland Carnival went bankrupt in 2018, and Bates Bros took this as an opportunity to buy back their old ride. Frenzy returned to Bates Bros in late 2018 and received a full refurbishment with help from ARM. The new and improved Frenzy debuted at the 2019 IX Indoor Amusement Park. Since this event, the ride has continued to travel with Bates Bros to several locations throughout the carnival season. It was slated to make a return to the IX Indoor Amusement Park in 2020, however, COVID canceled this event and possibly all future IX Indoor Amusement Park events. The Frenzy is considered by Bates Bros to be one of their most major rides and is a staple of many events they travel to. The ride is expected to return in 2022 to many Bates Bros events. In early 2017, ARM went back to the drawing board to address complaints about the original design of the Frenzy. Some of these complaints included that the ride was too heavy and that some parts wore out too fast. With the help of MJ Engineering, ARM created the second generation Frenzy. This new design is even lighter than the original, but it's still just as solid. It's also said to be more reliable. The second generation Frenzy was shown off at IAAPA 2018 before being transported to its current owner, Robbie Hauser of West Coast Amusements based out of Canada. Frenzy 2 continues to travel with West Coast Amusements today, though it's unclear how much of a success the ride has been, but it's definitely hoped that the ride is performing well for them. Now, I was lucky enough to get to ride the Frenzy when it was at the IX Indoor Amusement Park in 2019. I really didn't realize it at the time just how rare of a ride this actually was, because if you don't know anything about it and you look at it, it just looks like a knockoff Screamin' Swing. But it's really so much more, and it honestly has a lot more to offer than that. So like I said, I got to ride it at the IX Center in 2019. It is a really fun ride. Yes, the over-the-shoulder restraints are a bit restrictive, especially if you're used to the S&S version with the lap bars, but it still has really good airtime. And honestly, the lap bars on the S&S version, if they're pushed down too far, can be kind of uncomfortable, and you don't have that problem with these over-the-shoulder restraints. It feels very solid. You really can't tell that the ride is on a transportable base when you're riding, which is good. You shouldn't be able to feel that. And it's very impressive as far as the forces that you get for a ride of its size. It also is decorated really well. The lights on it are really impressive. It also has flags up on the top on Frenzy number 1. I believe Frenzy number 2 did away with the sun on the top. and the flags as well. I believe this was something to do with weight savings and the change in the structure on Frenzy 2. But Frenzy 1 does have the flags and the sign up at the top, which really, I think, adds to the visual appeal of the ride. When you see the flags kind of waving around and switching directions as the pendulum swings either way, it's pretty neat. I don't know why. It's fun to watch, you know? All Frenzies do have an automatic cycle that lasts roughly 120 seconds on both Frenzy 1 and 2. Though it's still a really good cycle, you do get good airtime, as I mentioned before, and it definitely does not feel short. I would definitely say it's a pretty darn good ride, all things considered. It may not be the most unique ride out there, but I think it's really interesting that it has such a deep story to it that most other rides don't have. So with that being said, if you'd like us to look at more of these kind of unique, one-off or 2 or 3 models produced rides that are out there, please let me know in the comments below. I certainly enjoyed researching this video and learning all of this with you guys. But that is about it for Flat Ride of the Week this week. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next week.